Hello and welcome to Pirate Television. My name is Claire Wolfe. This is the Vice President and Presidential Elects for the Executive Board for SGA. So I'm here with Kai Hansen, who is the President-elect, correct?
Right, correct.
And I've got Madi Field, who is the Vice President-elect. Like I said before, Claire Wolfe, field producer for Pirate Television. So let's get it started with just kind of telling us a little bit about yourself, why you decided to run. So start off with telling us about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Kai Hansen. I'm a sophomore here. I'm majoring in business administration, philosophy, and then chemistry. So I always say I take a lot of classes. I interact with a lot of people through that. And some other things I'm involved in. I give tours. That's one of my favorite things to do. I say my biggest asset as a tour guide is I don't have to lie to convince people that I love it here, because I really do. And yeah, if you want to go.
Yeah, my name is Madi Field. I'm a junior, double majoring in diplomacy and economics at school. I'm involved. I'm a women's swimmer. I write for the Diplomatic Envoy, and then I'm also in the Buccino Leadership Institute with Kai and Claire.
And Claire, yeah.
We all know each other kind of before this, but yeah. So why did you guys decide to run? I mean, especially as a sophomore and a junior. I mean, usually when you hear executive positions, it is people going into their senior year. So kind of why are you deciding to run now?
Right. So a couple factors. One, I saw an opportunity to make a change. I saw an opportunity for impact today, right? So I said, no time like the present. But I think also being a sophomore has a lot of advantages because I'm going into my junior year. I think that's better than doing it your senior year. You don't have to deal with the senioritis. And also it means I can be a mentor and a resource for somebody next year, right? So I think I think this might actually be the best time to do it.
Yeah, and then for me, moving off campus was really pivotal in shaping a lot of the ways that I saw the campus community. So I think working with Kai and establishing off-campus, safety as well as like a big part of our campaign drove me to commit to SGA because I feel like there is, like Kai said, a room for change.
Yeah. So you speak about a room for change, and then you just said that your kind of platform is really focused on safety. Where did you get the idea for this platform? I mean, we have blue light systems on campus. We're completely gated. I mean, I give tours as well,
right.
so
yeah,
I could go into the whole
absolutely.
security spiel. So why kind of is safety your main kind of platform, and how did you guys figure that out?
Right. So if you want to start.
Yeah, of course. I mean, moving off campus, you're walking back and forth from campus. I walk back and forth from campus at night a lot. I'm always in the library. So I feel like I saw things that living on campus, I wasn't really exposed to. Just a lack of lights around campus, a difficulty getting in and out of campus with stuff like crosswalks and stop signs and stuff like that. So I think just hearing, and then we actually met with a public safety officer. And we learned a lot about campus safety that we had not known, which I think really solidified our interest in making that a big fixture of our platform.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. That makes absolutely perfect sense. Anything to add? Or?
I mean, just that there's so many opportunities. There's always room for improvement. I mean, we see, I think, especially in this day and age, safety on college campuses, safety in schools, there's always room for improvement. And I think there's some really actionable ways we can make it safer here. So.
Agreed. And isn't that part of your leadership? You subtle plug to your leadership IDT.
I know.
You're getting something put in dorms, something
right.
safe put in dorms.
Actually, yeah. So I'm working on actually a couple projects right now. One of them is sexual assault, sexual harassment, like training. And I kind of want to revamp and redo the way we do that. I think some of the things we haven't, I don't want to replace what's currently, but I want to do something else. And then I'm also, if y'all have been paying attention and you've heard my stuff before, like Narcan is my big thing, and you're gonna keep hearing about it. I love Narcan. I think it's one of the easiest things. It's cheap, it's easy to get, it's easy to administer, and it saves lives. I mean, opioid overdose is the leading cause of death for people aged 19 to 49 now in the United States, and Narcan is truly will save somebody's life, and I think the more we have it on campus, the better. So those are my two passions right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
So speaking of passions and speaking of planning, and there's a lot of times that, especially now, you can enact change. What are kind of some of the projects that you're hoping to work on when you guys get, elected? When your term starts, what are the first few things that you're hoping to roll out right away? I mean, it's hard because you're working with administration and anything else like that. And anytime you have a big project, it can take some time, and there's a lot of bodies involved. But kind of what are the main things you hope to really nail down or change?
Yeah, I'll knock some of these out. So I think our first thing that we're going to do is get a treasurer. we do not have a treasurer, so I think as soon as we get inducted, we're going to appoint somebody, and hopefully the Senate will approve them, and we can really get going on that and have somebody handle the financial side of it. But as far as like student life stuff, I think one of the things we're talking about is we're going to meet with the South Orange, like the town, and we're trying to get a crosswalk on Ward, some better lighting on Ward. They've got the gas lights now that are pretty poor. And now, of course, I can't promise any of this, right? Like I have to convince everybody and then some. But I do think those are easy things to put into place that we can really make people safer, at least in the surrounding areas as far as commuters are concerned. On campus, I think Narcan again, but also just being able to communicate, having like pirate alerts be quick and rapid, and having students be informed on what's going on and being able to make good decisions, I think are all things that are easy to do, easy to implement, and I think we can all agree that they're good things to have. So it's not going to be, I hope it's not a huge hurdle. I hope that we can get those done before the end of the semester, at least in the works.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what Kai was saying, like information is a really big thing for us. We want like exec board to be really out there. Like we want people to be able to communicate with us constantly. And so I think that like just being able to be receptive to like the student needs is something we're really interested in. And then also, and Jade, they've all done such a great job, and we really want to continue kind of that legacy that they have going on so far. And then also, as Kai's mentioned before, Title IX, you know, there are always places where schools can do better. We've seen, you know, protests in so many universities, and I think knowing all the things that we know now about whether it's sexual assault to sexual harassment, I think working on Title IX is always a good thing.
And it sounds like you guys already kind of have a connection with the village in South Orange and kind of the surrounding area, not to mention your initiative that you lead in the Leadership Institute, but you're working with, you know, the local community as well to do Pirates Play and everything else like that. So it sounds like you kind of already have that bridge that you're hoping to just kind of strengthen, it sounds like.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we hope so, right? The mayor of South Orange, I don't know if she's not technically the mayor, but she's the person in charge.
Person in charge, yeah.
Right, person in charge. Like she's an alum. She's really involved.
Mm-hmm.
She's passionate about South Orange, obviously, and I think we're planning on reaching out to her. And I think we've got a lot of touch points with campus security, and then also in the police department. So I think we're in good shape. Yes.
Yeah, sounds like you're well on your way. So you mentioned this before. You don't have a treasurer.
Right.
Why is that? As somebody who does not know how SGA works, first of all, I think it's great that you're kind of engaging the students more. I think there's a lot of students who, we were kind of talking about this before, voting-wise, there's a lot of students who either don't know that SGA exists, or, you know, when I came from my high school, it was student council.
Right.
And student council was more of like the SAB that we have here.
Right.
So Student Government Association is, you know, like you said, the Senate will approve somebody and everything. It sounds a lot more legit than just a normal student council, one would say. Or at least I hope that's the case. So you guys don't have a treasurer.
Right.
How did that happen?
deal?
What are you guys what's your plan to kind of enact that? How are you gonna fit that or fill that role?
I mean, honestly, so in order to run for SGA, you have to give up your exec positions. So we had treasurers that weren't aware of that by law, and they just didn't want to give up the positions in clubs that they'd held or even started, was in the case of our last treasurer who dropped out. So I think that was a tough sell to some people, to convince them to give up those things. But we are in the process. We've talked to a bunch of different candidates within SGA. So we're trying to do a very well-rounded kind of appraisal of the person that we want to appoint as treasurer. They're in charge of a lot, and you do that by basically the Senate has to ratify the treasurer-elect
or treasurer appointee. Right?
Yeah,
okay.
by a 2/3 majority. So it is significant, but we're hoping that by talking with SGA and meeting so many people, that the person that we pick, will go through. So
right, yeah. Fingers
so
crossed.
your team is kind of described. You don't have a treasurer, but you do have a president, a vice president, and a secretary. Who's the secretary again?
Bria Horta. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
So
she's lovely.
you kind of have this what was pitched to me as this diverse group of an executive board.
Right.
So kind of how do you plan on using everybody's kind of diverse perspectives to, whether it be represent the students at Seton Hall or to kind of push your platform forward?
Right. So I think to represent the student body, we have to have a diverse thing of diverse range of perspectives. I mean, the student body is not homogenous at all, and that's awesome. So just to kind of expound on the diversity of backgrounds, I mean, Maddie's from Chicagoland. I live in Dallas now. I grew up in East Africa. Bria's from Jersey. She's our Jersey girl. And then we're involved in a bunch of different stuff, like a variety of things. We're all have different majors. So I think we interact with a lot of people that way. And my hope is that we can interact with enough people, interact with as much of the student body as possible, and really get a feel for what they want. I mean, of course, like I know what I want, right? And I know what my immediate circle wants. And I even know maybe broadly what people want, but I don't know what every single person wants. And so the more people I meet, the more people we meet, the more, the better we can be, the better we can serve y'all.
Yeah, and I think, Claire, the one thing we are missing is someone that is experienced in SGA. Obviously, all of us are SGA outsiders. We've actually never run before. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's why with our treasurer, we want to bring in someone who's experienced, who has that, who's a seasoned vet, basically, so that we know how things work inside student government as well.
That's a very good point. And I like how you guys brought up, diversity is not just one way of thinking. It's many different ways of thinking. And like you said before, the Seton Hall community is, one of the most diverse that I've seen. And so I think that it's, what you want out of a government association is, equal representation of all and everything else like that. So I think that you guys really touched on that, and hopefully you'll be able to
Hopefully so, yeah, I really do. Yeah.
So speaking of the non-homogenous, community that is Seton Hall, and that every student has a voice, every student has that unique perspective like you guys do. What is one thing that you would want students to know? If there's one thing, if they just turned this on at the last 30 seconds, what's one thing you would really want to emphasize to them, even before you start?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it's that we're available. Please reach out. However, you can Teams message me, email me. I'll give you my number. My number's 214-463-0486. Text me, call me. Text me your name first, hopefully, or don't, and just let me know what you think. I really want to know what you guys have to think, and I hope that I can also branch out, and we can branch out and get feedback and find some ways to interact with the student body as a whole and really get a feel for what people want. But really, that I'm available, that I want to help, and that literally I'm a message away, text away, Teams message, email, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we have our Instagram. It's Hansen Field 2023. So if you have any questions, anything at all, just DM us on that account, leave a comment, something, and we'll try to get back to you. We want to be here for you guys because we're also you guys, so.
Very nice, very, very nice. Well, thank you so much for coming in today. Speaking of being there for students, Pirate Television always being there for students. You can follow us on Seton Hall PTV, on Instagram, YouTube, anywhere you can find us on social media. But any last words that you guys want to add?
No, thank you, Claire.
Yeah,
this was
thank you.
great.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh my gosh, of course. And thank you so much for joining us and watching, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.